Yo, what's going on, fellas? How you doing on a great Thursday morning? Everything going well? Is your weather nice? Summer yet? Work off to a good little start? It's time to get settled on in. Put all that off to the side. It's time to get settled in on some sports and some sports betting talk as well. And we'll, of course, preview today's MLB slate live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time with myself and the Hockey Squirrel. He is back. Computer issues are resolved with him, and he's here to give you guys some picks as well. Let's make sure we, of course, go ahead and recap yesterday, and then we'll get on into some of that action that we talked about right there. So in throwing the recap up yesterday was just an unfortunate, 1 and 2 day. It was just kind of one of those like little bummer of a days. Weren't any brutal bad beats, weren't any, great dramatic wins. Just a ho-hum kind of day, and a day, unfortunately, where we ended up on the wrong side of it. We did get a good plus money cash, though, with those Dodgers on that F5 team total. Hell, almost got a good first inning cash as they got 3 runs in the first inning off of Patrick Corbin, which immediately then gets us on the hook as we're looking for 4 runs. And then, they had traffic, on the bases in the second inning, couldn't quite get a run. Then they had more traffic in the bases in the third inning. Hell, they had bases loaded, no out. You knew they were at least going to go ahead and get 1 run to get us the cash, and that's exactly what they did. Patrick Corbin walks a batter. That's your 4th run. That's your cash at a good plus 120, plus 110. So love to see that right there. After that, give it Patrick Corbin credit, and kind of what we talked about on the payoff pitch. He's given up a ton of hits, or the 290 opponent's batting average, walks a ton of guys, but he's been effective lately in just, limiting the damage. And he did that again yesterday. Limited the damage enough, gave the Nationals a chance to, hang around that game and even pick up a win. So good job there by the Nationals. We were tripped up yesterday with that Reds F5 team total, and seems like what every F5 team total happens to us when we miss it. It always cashes in the 6th inning. No different yesterday. Reds get 1 run through 5 innings, pick up that 2nd run in the 6th inning. Had their chances again, like James Paxton late. He was doing a good job early, but they were getting to him a little bit later on, and those just came on a little bit too late, and again missed that one by 1 run. And then Padres Marlins, you think it's going to be an over, and it's just a good old classic under. There's only 1 run through the 5 innings and 3 runs overall, so that game stayed definitely under, a lot of the projections. So down on the day, down 0.9 units, still positive on the week, and still got some arbitrage money as well. How about that Europa League, though? Yes, how about nailing that Europa League final? Under 2.5 goals, cash is nice and easily. Under 9.5 corners, cash nice and easily. And draw, so all 3 leans, cash. Did you guys put those suckers in a parlay? I wish I put those in a parlay. That was the only mistake. I did end up playing all of those leans, but due to the juice and due to some other factors, of course, never made those official plays. But I actually ended up watching that game. It was about how I thought, right? If you're going to hit all 3 of your leans, I would say that game went, to a T of how you thought. So maybe should have sprinkled the parlay, but I can't be mad with picking up a couple of personal cashes. And from talking to, some of you guys on Twitter, you guys also picked up a couple of good personal plays and some cashes as well. So love to see that right there. We've only got 1 play so far that's going to be non-baseball related in the French Open. I'm going to do a little money line parlay. Fritz is minus 800 on the money line, and Sarandola, he's about minus 200 across the various sports books. So 2 guys that, should certainly get it done. They're playing really well. They've got some great opponents in terms of, significant advantages against them, and then also significant advantages against them on clay. So this money line parlay is a little bit juicy at minus 156, but one that, should come in and should also come in relatively sweat-free. So had to go ahead and play that one right there. You got NBA Finals, Game 1, tipping off tonight between the Nuggets and Heat. Probably won't be watching much of that, but I know you guys will be dialed in. What are you betting on that? Are you doing one of the 2 angles of Nuggets in the first quarter? Or are we going to fade the Miami Heat point guard? I looked those stats up before getting on here. Those are 2 good angles. I think the only unknown is what are the Nuggets going to do after the long layoff. But if the Nuggets just perform like how the numbers are, yeah, I think you'll get an easy cash in the first quarter. And, of course, the Heat point guard, should stay under his production. But a little bit long of a layoff for me to want to put that Nuggets first quarter in a parlay, or maybe even play the spread, as a standalone play. Too much unknown with how the Nuggets are going to come out. But if they come out and win this first quarter, then I think they probably win the first quarter in every game. But we'll see how it goes. Let's hop in that comment section, see how this Thursday morning is treating you guys, and then we'll get to the payoff pitch. Again, live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Preview today's MLB slate, where several plus money bets on the card. Already tweeted the whole card. Normally I don't do that before the payoff pitch, but I don't know. Today I felt like tweeting it before the show. So do we add anything to it? Maybe one play, but to be quite honest, I don't think I can do that now because it was plus 114, and now the best line is minus 106, so dramatically different. So probably just go with what we've got tweeted and add to it, obviously, this one tennis parlay as well. What's going on, Tyler? You've been baling hay for a week, and it's been raining all morning. I bet you do need some rain on the farmland if you haven't had any in 3 weeks. What does that do for baling hay? Does that give you the morning off? You can just kind of sit back and watch the rain fall? Does that give you the morning off, or are you baling hay in an indoor capacity? Love to see it. Let's go, Jason. Let's go. Loving it. Did we get you to game one of the finals? Obviously, we had a nice day on Tuesday. Tuesday. Did we get you to the finals? Joker to have a triple-double every game, 2,100. Wow, you can bet that? Wow, what book is giving you that? I mean, I'm not disagreeing with the triple-double by any stretch. It's just, what book is offering that for every game? 21 plus 20 to 1. Yeah, guy's a walking triple-double. I love it. Love it. Let's go Nuggets. Freddie Gent, let's go Nuggets. I love it. Let's get it. Otherwise, yeah, I did start to look at the FA Cup final. I will tell you, got till tomorrow to maybe possibly add a play to it, but under 9.5 corners looks to be the best play. I'm going to wait to see if Barstool / Bet Rivers offers a ball possession prop, because I think City's going to dominate the ball. I mean, look what United did at Old Trafford. They only had 30% of the possession and were able to win that game 2-1. I remember watching that game. I still think that first goal, Marcus Rashford, is offsides. While he doesn't touch the ball, boy, does he interfere with the play and sucks those two defenders his way and leaves Bruno Fernandes, open then to hit a strike and get a goal. So I definitely disagree with the result, but just look how United played that game at home, conceded possession, and was able to get the win. That's what they're going to do at Wembley. They know they've got the counter-attacking abilities through Martial and Rashford and Toney. Don't see them playing that game any different, especially when they get a positive result at Old Trafford, basically running that same tactic. So I think we know how the game's going to go. City's going to dominate possession, under 9.5 corners, not only hit in both head-to-heads earlier this season. If you look at the season-long numbers, it suggests under 9.5 corners. One sports book in DraftKings is going to give it to you at plus money. The other books that are about around minus 110, minus 115. So just unders have burned me so goddamn much. Even though it was good to us yesterday in the Europa final, unders are just always tricky. But I do like under 9.5 corners. I think without having that ball possession prop, that could be the best angle, under 9.5 corners. But we'll see. We'll hold out another day, see if we do get that ball possession prop. Because I think if they give it to you, 60, as long as it's like 65, I'm comfortable with a 65-35 split in that game. City obviously on the 65. So we'll see. Morning off and a slow day. Love it. And DeGent's going to game 2. Love it. You got yourself into game 2. Nice, DeGent. Hell yeah. You got that bet on FanDuel last night. I actually did get a notification, in-app notification on my phone last night that FanDuel had whatever they call it, like FanDuel exclusive only markets. It sounds like you picked that up on FanDuel. I bet that it maybe is only exclusive over to FanDuel. Maybe it's worth checking out. I like it. Let's have ourselves a day. God damn, I love today's card. I love this tennis moneyline parlay. Just can't see either of these guys losing. That's why I was willing, even though it was above minus 150, I was like, these dudes just shouldn't lose. So I was okay betting minus 156 above my cutoff. And then these baseball plays, you've already seen it on Twitter. How many of them are at plus money? And I love them all. Blue Jays should stomp the Brewers. I love the Marlins in this spot. Love the Rockies in this spot going on against Zach Davies with how well they're hitting right-handers. I love the card, so I'm looking to have a day. Opinions on the Canadian? Let's see who she's playing. I do not look up women's tennis all that often. Women's tennis, man, you think you're going to get an easy match and it's tough. You think you're going to get a tough match and it's easy. Women's tennis is not kind to the people. But let me get a look. Let's get a look here and see what we got. Let's see who she's playing. You're asking about the Canadian. How is the Canadian? She's going against the American Navarro. I mean, should what are but not like crazy odds. Like Sarandola is like minus 200. I wouldn't put Andreescu like that big of a favorite, but yeah, let's see what the odds are. She's a favorite for sure, but I wouldn't put her monster favorite over the American Navarro. Yeah, she's minus 140. So that kind of makes sense. A favorite, but not a big favorite. If you want to take a stab at minus 140, not terrible. But yeah, she should win. She should get the win. She should get the win. And it looks like they haven't played each other before, which is generally fine. But yeah, I mean, should win. Someone I know parlayed, and someone I know. Okay. I mean, obviously, I like the Sarandola part. I mean, obviously, I like that. She's only minus 140. Probably just, unless you're using Sarandola as like a juice reducer, because the Andreescu's plays like not phenomenal, like a favorite, but not like a good favorite. So if you're just tacking on Sarandola because he's a LOCK and you're just tacking him on for a juice reducer, but he should win, man. I like the Argentine today. I like him a lot. And then Fritz, I like Fritz. I mean, he's minus 1,800. You're not justifying a minus 800 money line parlay. You look like a clown actually justifying a minus 800 money line parlay. Like, of course. So I like it, man. If you want to roll with that parlay, I think the one on the screen is better, but then you're going to get yours at probably plus money because you're getting a minus 140 and like let's say a minus 200. So I try and avoid women's tennis. It's just been crushed over the years with women's tennis. It's so wildly unpredictable. It's not even funny. So yeah, I really like our men's play. It starts in about, tennis times never start on time, but in theory it starts in about 40 minutes. Look to roll that right onto the baseball action while you're getting baseball cashes. All of a sudden that tennis parlay comes along for the ride for a cash. Yeah, I like it. All right, let's go find ourselves a Hockey Squirrel. I do know that he's around. He's got that computer issue sorted out, so let me go find him. You guys enjoy some music. Hang tight for about the next 5 or so minutes. Let me know in the comments section, though, what are some of your best bets today in baseball? Who do you have as a dog? Who do you have as a favorite? Let me know some of your comments there in the section, and we'll check them out while we wait for the Hockey Squirrel. All right, fellas, let's do it today. Let's do it today. Have ourselves a day. Yo, what's going on there, fellas? Welcome on into today's episode here of the Payoff Pitch, where it's live every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Let's go ahead and pull in the Hockey Squirrel. Seems like the software let us down today. There's the Hockey Squirrel, back better than ever. Looks like a new headset to go with that new computer. What's up there, Squirrel?
Hey, yeah, the headset's something I've had, but I'm interested in how the camera looks. This is the first time I've even opened the camera on this computer. My last one didn't have a camera, so I was usually doing it off my phone, but now off the new laptop. So yeah, just getting things set up. You know how it is, man. You have to reinstall all your apps and re-sign into every single thing on the computer, and oh yeah, it's not the most fun, but.
Hey, glad to have you back in there though today. Glad you were able to get those issues resolved. We're gonna do something a little bit different on today's show. Small slate in the NBA, so let's just ditch the normal format that we do on the left-hand side and let's just go game by game and talk about it. That being said, let's then do circle back at the end and we'll just run through the innings and what would I have given out and shut up and pitch? What would have been my best bet of the day? What would have been my favorite long shot? We'll just run through those by giving out the picks without any justification because you'll have known what we feel about those games because we'll preview them all individually. So with that being said, let's just do that. Let's take the first game, run through it here, where you've got the Brewers taking on the Blue Jays today. Freddie Peralta up against Kevin Gausman. And Squirrel, I don't know about where you're going to have the numbers on this game, but when I looked at it, a massive hitting advantage falls to the Blue Jays in terms of hitting right-handers, a significant.
Yes.
I mean, just batting average is like 328 for the Blue Jays up against 184 for the Brewers. Slugging, same kind of thing. It's 536 up against 231. OPS is 906 versus 468. The weighted runs created is 151 versus 61. So one team significantly above the average at 100, and another team significantly below it at 61. Everything, Ks, everything. Pull on over to the bullpen. Blue Jays have a massive bullpen advantage, a 1.99 ERA, 5.08 for the Brewers, 2.84 FIP versus 5.04 for the Brewers. WHIP, opponent's batting average, it's all there for the Brewers. Then I look at Peralta versus Gausman. Gausman not only has the better numbers, then you look at home and away splits. Gausman's significantly better at home. Peralta's significantly worse on the road. To me, it's Blue Jays run line all day. I can't see how the Brewers come out of this game victorious. How do you have it?
Yeah, you were wondering about the numbers. I had a minus 165 on the Blue Jays. I don't know where the total is. I have that, I believe, at 8.
Okay.
I don't even know if that's remotely close, but one thing that I was quite interested in is Kevin Gausman over 7.5 strikeouts. I actually finally have the ability to view line history on props, which is pretty interesting. So you can see not only where they open, but where they've moved to as well, which is always very helpful. This did open closer to plus money, at least. And I can do this by book as well, which is really nice. So I think this is a FanDuel line that opened plus 102 and is more minus 108. Somebody hammering in your house, man?
Yeah, somebody, or I think the neighbors are.
Somebody, some guy, I don't know.
I think it's the neighbor.
Sounds good. Yeah.
No, I like Kevin Gausman as well, because the Brewers don't hit worth shit. They strike out at 27.5%. And in his last start, remember, we were on Kevin Gausman over 7.5 Ks, and he got there with 8 Ks. Great strikeout guy, got a nasty slider. You factor in that the Brewers are struggling versus right-handers mightily. That was going to be one of my leans, Gausman over 7.5 strikeouts. I like it.
Yeah. I also have access now to projections. Projections over the distribution, right, of like setting the price but also getting the expectation. So the expectation is 8 strikeouts, so going over 7.5 at plus money or even very slight juice there at minus 108. It is a profitable projection, at least for Gausman, and it makes sense not only in line movement but also in what he's been able to do this year. So that was my angle for attacking that game. I have not put anything down on the money line or the total, but yes, Blue Jays are a heavy favorite there as well. I have not dug into any hitting props either yet, so that would be maybe a place to look for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, to me, it's just a no-brainer. It's better offense, better starter, and better bullpen. And not just better, like significant offense, significant bullpen. That's why I'm willing to do the run line. Think that they'll win by 2 because the advantages are that much greater over the Brewers. So I like it. And you saw what they did, obviously, in Game 1 in winning that ball game. So, all right, Blue Jays run line for me. You lean Blue Jays money line. You said the over-under, or you said you had it pegged at 8. That's what the line is. The line's right at 8 with minus 110 on both sides of that number. So that one's apparently bang on. Let's go ahead and move over now to the Phillies. They're taking on the Mets, where you got Taijuan Walker up against Max Scherzer. The Mets offense just grades out better versus right-handed pitching. When you get from a bullpen perspective, the Phillies bullpen allows more hits, but they're doing a good job at limiting the damage because then their ERA and their FIP is all lower, than the Mets. So worse batting average, worse BABIP, opponent's batting average, but limiting that damage, so I like. So then you look at Walker versus Scherzer. Scherzer's with the better numbers. Scherzer's pitching great since he's come back from his 10-day suspension with the sticky stuff. And Scherzer's just a guy that, I'm going to trust Scherzer more, right? He's on a good little roll. He's got the name guy as well. Although, to be fair, both guys are generally speaking on a nice little bit of roll. Scherzer, obviously, a lot of familiarity against the Phillies. Went up against them 4 times last year. 2 great starts, 2 kind of just okay starts. The team went 2-2 in those 4 starts. Where Walker, he obviously was with the Mets for the last 2 seasons, so doesn't have really any familiarity, going up against the Mets, but maybe being on the team, I don't know if that's going to help him or help the batters. But for me, I'm getting the better offense. I'm getting the better pitcher. I may not be getting the better bullpen, but I'm going to rely on Max Scherzer giving me the lead and getting me into my good arms. I like the Mets money line. Couldn't bet it at around minus 170, but I like the Mets today.
Yeah. I think they're a bit overvalued, personally. I have them around minus 145, so quite a bit higher there for the actual line. I'm pretty close on the total there. I have 8.25. It's at 9 juice to the under. I think I saw 1 8.5, so fairly in there as well for that. I don't see too much that's interesting for the props. Trending downward, I believe, is Taijuan Walker at 3.5 strikeouts. Scherzer, how much do you, I guess, value line movement in player props for a number of reasons? Because if it's a big name like Max Scherzer and his K props are going up, this kind of would make sense, right? Because he's a big name, he's expected to get those strikeouts, or not every pitcher is even a strikeout pitcher, but I'm not sure that everybody thinks about it in that term, either. I just see the name that they know, and they're going to take the over. So, it's a less liquid market as well. So less money is going to move that line. It's not as public where, everyone thinks about this kind of bet. Everyone's just going to hop on the Mets money line, but it takes a hell of a lot more money to move that Mets money line. It's going to take thousands as opposed to hundreds. So I'm kind of curious to track over time how line movement affects player props, if much at all, because of just the less liquidity in the market and everything. So, yeah, both of those props, so I'm not overly interested in. So Scherzer's line is moving up. Let's see. Bet Rivers is the best line you can get if you're gonna go over on Max Scherzer. It's minus 117, while the rest of the market is about minus 130 or 135. So.
Okay. All right. So and so you said the total at 8.25. Okay. Sweet. All right, let's move on to another matchup here. Marlins taking on the Padres, a little getaway day game right here. You got Musgrove taking on Luzardo. Padres versus left-handers. They're still sitting in the bottom 10 even after yesterday's performance. Not a big shocker. They're still very high on their K percentage at 34.5%, which played right into the stats yesterday as Braxton Garrett got 7 Ks. Painful to see Braxton Garrett rack up 7 Ks. That was not fun. But it made sense because the Padres are striking out a ton versus left-handers. They're also got decent on walk at 10.9. So I think you're seeing them, look at, a 3-2 count. They're going to look at that pitch and either draw the walk or strike out looking based on their stats. So Braxton Garrett, 7 Ks yesterday, took advantage of that. Marlins versus right-handers, boy, they are right up there. Their slash line is 293, 397, and 449, which is top 10, top 5 in some categories versus right-handers. So the bullpen edge, though, you got to give the edge to the Padres. That's slightly, But remember how we avoided that Marlins bullpen 2 days ago? We just took the F5 money line with Alcantara. The Padres grayed out with a better bullpen. It's slightly, but you want to still avoid that Marlins bullpen. Then you start looking at Musgrove versus Luzardo. I can't see an edge in terms of either one of these guys maybe having an advantage. Maybe Luzardo is a little bit better. And then you start looking at common opponents. They both went up against the Diamondbacks, where Luzardo was better against the Diamondbacks. They both got rocked against the Giants, but maybe the edge actually does go to Luzardo, especially when you factor in how poor the Padres have been versus left-handed pitching. So I kind of like the Marlins early in this game. Luzardo over 6.5 Ks was going to be maybe a play for me. It was at plus money. Now it's at minus money, so maybe going to come off of that one. It doesn't have the great hit rate of only 4 out of 10 starts, but this is a great opponent where he's cashed the last 3, going over 6.5 Ks. Now he gets the Padres. Again, Garrett got 7 Ks yesterday, so that'd be maybe a play in that one. How do you see this game shaking out?
Well, I kind of like the Marlins in terms of just where things have opened and where they've gone. I can understand, you want to have that initial Padres lean, and I think that's easy to do because of the lineup that they have. It's easy to be afraid of that lineup when you read the names. Like when you just sit there and look on paper and you're going, Tatis and everybody, you got Juan Soto and Bogarts, and it's on and on with that team. But when that opens minus 120 and regresses basically back towards even odds, it's something you have to consider. Why does that happen? Why is that? When the game opened, the Marlins, I think, were pretty close to where I have them. I have it plus or minus 125 in favor of the Padres. But things can happen that the model doesn't account for, right? So the model's not 100% always correct. So this is why you factor in things like line movement. You look at, obviously, and line movement is basically just steam, right? I mean, steam is on one side or the other. That's where the money's coming in, and that moves the line. So it looks a little bit weird to me for the Pirates in terms of the line. You get Marlins at home. I don't see anything in terms of the pitching props that interest me, but of the most notable things is the total. I have it at 8.5, and I think it's 7.5 right now. So if I'm thinking that the Marlins are going to win, or if there is money coming in on that side, I sure would expect both teams get runs, with that Padres lineup. So I think perhaps for myself, the over would be where I would look if I'm going to play in this game.
Yeah, I think the over has been, from a numbers-wise, has been great, right? Went over in Game 1, missed terribly yesterday in a 2-1 game. I bet if you would have sat here yesterday, you probably would have had this game projected to go over. It didn't happen, and no surprise, you've also got the game projected today to go over based on the stat. So, all right, let's go ahead and now move over to the Rockies. They're taking on the Diamondbacks, where you get Chase Anderson going up against Zach Davies. Anderson, boy, since his trade from the Rays, and to be fair, he was actually good with the Rays. Maybe it was just a numbers game, but they traded him over to the Rockies. Been fairly good. He's not going deep in it. Huh?
I'm seeing it might be changed out for Connor Seabold instead of for the Rockies.
Oh, really?
Official MLB website says Connor Seabold, but it did say Chase Anderson as of last night, so I don't know if that's something that...
Let me get a look here. Let me see what some of these books got. That changes. Wow, that's not going to be good for my bets. Let's see. DraftKings are still showing me Chase Anderson, and
only if you bet
FanDuel's still
action.
showing me Chase Anderson. Okay, well, just hope that God is Chase Anderson. Let's for John as if it's Chase Anderson.
Oh, never mind.
Anyways, what we were going to say is Chase Anderson is not going deep in the games. He's not going to go 6-7 innings, but boy, has he been awfully efficient through roughly the 5 innings, he has been. He was strong against the Mets, strong against the Marlins, strong against the Reds. So I think he's going to give you 5 quality innings, and that's what you can count on. Meanwhile, Zach Davies, boy, we know him well. He's been a pitcher that we've kind of been fading over the years. He doesn't have a lot of starts this season. He only had 2 starts, and then they sent him down with performance or injury related, but now he's back making his second start since return. A very high contact guy. He's not going to blow you away. There's a reason why his strikeout prop is at 3.5. He's pitching the contact, and that could be a little bit dangerous against a Rockies offense that is really good versus right-handers. You saw them in the opener get 5 runs up against Ryan Nelson, a right-hander. Didn't do anything against Zach Gallen, also a right-hander. But I project Zach Davies kind of like Ryan Nelson. If you look at their numbers, and Zach Davies actually grades out worse than Ryan Nelson. So I think they can get back to the numbers they had in the series opener when they cranked out 5 runs, had success, lost the game, but at least the offense matched more what they are versus right-handed pitching. So, yeah, the Rockies are better batting average, better on base, slugging, OPS, and better on weighted runs created. So I like this offense. Both offenses aren't going to strike out at 19.3 and 18.2 K percentage. And the Rockies have some good batting averages also up against Zach Davies. Bryant hits 346. Diaz is hitting 350. McMahon's hitting 265. And Castro is hitting 750. So, once again, you don't want this Rockies bullpen, though. It's sitting in bottom 10. Diamondbacks is average, but it is better with the Rockies sitting bottom 10. So, I think the Rockies can get to Zach Davies, score some runs. I think they can have the pitching advantage earlier on in this game due to Chase Anderson. So, I like Rockies at 5, and I like the Rockies also that team total. What do you like about this game?
I didn't particularly like model it, if you will, because of Chase Anderson, and I just had he wasn't even in my repository of people, of pitchers. I typed his name in, and it was like, we don't have a Chase Anderson. You're not invited to the party. Who do you know here? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's hard to make a projection on the game when you don't have any information on the pitcher. So, and now we don't even know. It's kind of a toss-up if that's even the actual player. I see Connor Siebold in a couple different places, so not entirely sure if that is or is not true, who we're even getting. So then that leaves me with, kind of either eyeballing it and guessing, which I don't like to do, or just looking at Zach Davies and whatnot. The projection is 3.5 strikeouts, and you're getting under 3.5 strikeouts at a whopping plus 128 on FanDuel, which makes it basically a valuable purchase then at that point. And with your analysis of thinking that the Rockies are going to hit Zach Davies, that would then, it goes along with your ideas and the actual projections and numbers and value there. So maybe Zach Davies under 3.5 strikeouts at plus 128.
I like it. I love that good plus money price. All right, let's move over now to the Reds. They're taking on the Red Sox. We got Hunter Green up against Chris Sale. This is the same story I've said all week with the Reds, right? We cashed plus 160. Talked about him yesterday as maybe being one of my favorite dogs. Wasn't able to pull the trigger because the price wasn't as good as 2 nights ago. But, well, they shouldn't have been a dog yesterday, and they come through getting the win yesterday. Same story. The Reds do it all better. Can they pull off the sweep? And that's the only thing you've really got going up against you is that sweep narrative. Otherwise, it's the better team. Yeah. I'm expecting a lot of strikeouts from both of these guys. Sale mowed through the lineup from a K perspective. Hunter Green to also blow through this lineup from a K perspective. Sale's out prop may be the best way to get into this game if you like a player prop under 18.5 outs. It's really juicy at about minus 175. But it's totally justified. Even though the Reds struggled yesterday against Jane Paxton, it didn't really hurt their numbers too much against left-handers. So now you got to evaluate, could that be the beginning of a slide, though, to where their numbers look great, but they didn't do all that much against Jane Paxton? Chris Sale's got another tough lefty, tall kid. Maybe that's enough of a slide, enough to kind of put me off of this game. But Reds would still have to be a dog, and if you played it the first 2 days and gotten a good plus money cash, this is probably one of the ones where you don't go in for a third dip because you don't want to ruin 2 really good cashes. But the Reds still grade out better across the board, like I've kind of been talking about the first 2 days. What about for you?
Yeah, I like the Reds. I wish I had played it, I think, 2 days ago. I mean, I wasn't here yesterday, so setting up the new laptop. But 2 days ago, I think you had really liked the Reds. I don't know if you actually played it, but I really wished I did. I really wished I did then. I wish I came along with you because it was, I think, an easy one at plus money. It was like an 8 or 9 to 1 or something.
Hold on. Put some respect on that play. because it got extremely sweaty. A 9-8 game where they had to bring in their closer after some slappy couldn't quite mop up the duty. It got
Oh,
extreme. A plus 160 for being up 8-0 got extremely goddamn sweaty.
yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't watch the whole thing. I think I just saw that they had a massive lead, and I was like, I should have played it. But yeah, I mean, either way, you got the win. So
Got the win.
you know, doesn't matter how, right? Just get the damn win.
And you
But
like the Reds again today. No big surprise. I mean, the numbers are there. Like I
yeah,
said, yeah.
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 I have them plus 125. So if I'm getting them plus 145, roughly something like that, I think is what I saw. Then yes, I do like that. Um, as you were saying, the strikeout props are quite high, and I think even a higher projection for Hunter Green than Chris Sale, which may make a little bit of sense. If I remember right, Hunter Green has a pretty high velocity in his fastball, I think, which should really punch a lot of guys out on at the plate. So, um, yeah, I mean, if you're expecting a lot of strikeouts, I think Hunter Green might be your guy there over Chris Sale for the strikeout department. But either way, Chris Sale's is set at 6.5, but I think I'd probably go under on Chris Sale, and I don't know if I'd necessarily go over on Hunter Green, but if there's a guy that's going to do it, it's him.
Yeah, I like that one as well. Our next matchup here, second to last one, is Guardians taking on the Twins. Bibby up against Lopez. Offense first right-handers, and no real advantage. Twins okay a ton more at 33.1%, but both of these teams, look at the numbers, they're average to bottom 10 are both of these offenses versus right-handers. So with no advantage right there, we then look to the bullpen, and you don't get an advantage there because both of them sit top 10. We're going to get a really good bullpen. So what does that mean? You get good bullpens, you get poor offense. This game seems like an under is the way I would go ahead and see this one. Then you look at Bibby, though, versus Lopez. Bibby with better numbers, and also kind of has that new factor, or Bibby, yeah, sorry. And then also has that new factor, right? First season in the bigs, maybe that contributing to his better numbers than Lopez, but he grades out better than Lopez. Lopez struggling with the home run ball, having a hard time keeping the ball in the ballpark. Not that the Guardians on paper have the numbers to take advantage of that, but maybe today is the day that they could take advantage of it because of him. So how can you not like, though, Bibby over 15.5 outs? It's cashed in all but one of his starts. It missed versus the Tigers, but it cashed versus the Cardinals, the Mets, the Angels, the Yankees, and the Rockies. All teams that do fairly well versus right-handers more times than not. So I like his over 15.5 outs. In fact, DraftKings and MGM have it at 16.5 outs. You can still get a 15.5 outs over on Barstools and Bet Rivers if you're interested. I love it. Cashed in all but one start. I like it. I also like the Guardians. While I see the game low scoring, the Guardians' offense is a tick better, and the bullpen maybe a tick better. But that being said, we're talking very slightly. I'll take the under in the Guardians in this one.
Yeah, I wrote one thing down in this game, and it was Tanner Beebe under 5.5 strikeouts at plus 102. I have to tell you why I like that because I wrote it down like an hour ago. I don't remember at this point.
His K numbers should be great too. With the Twins at 33.1%, the guy's got good strikeouts.
Yeah. I don't know if he does. I was looking through them. For some reason, I wrote down Tanner Beebe under 5.5. I don't know if it's due to line movement because it came out plus 120. It's now plus 102. I have a projection of 5.5, roughly. So I think plus money. Maybe the plus 120 would have been better. Looks like not even a lot of sports books have this actually listed as a prop, and some of the other ones that do are at 6.5 minus 217 at Caesar. So that's definitely not something you're going to be betting. But it would be somewhat of an indication, right, that if under 6.5 is minus 217, 5.5 should not be plus 102. So it's not really making a lot of sense, I think. I don't know. For some reason, for whatever reason, I wrote that down. I have the Twins favored minus 134, which is really spot on, I'm pretty sure. And I have the game at 8.5, which is exactly where it is. It's at 8, but it's juiced to the over. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm pretty spot on with most things there. And Tanner Beebe under 5.5 Ks was my only real draw of interest in that.
All right, let's go ahead and get to the last game. We've got the Angels taking on the Astros. Reed Detmers up against Framer Valdez. I don't like the Astros, I feel like, in this matchup. Even though the Angels have the better offense, they're going up against the left-hander there in Valdez, and they do it good, all by a good little bit up over the Astros. The Astros only have 42 plate appearances, so you do have to kind of factor that in. Maybe that's a little bit misleading of what their numbers are. Other than the Angels K'ing a ton, you're going to get a lot of strikeouts at 32.5%. But they also slug a ton at 672. So if they can maybe just get a guy on and pop one, I think that's going to be their road to success today against Valdez. He's not going to let you string across a lot of hits, but maybe with Trout and Ohtani, they can pop one. Although that being said, they've got some terrible batting averages, career batting averages up against Valdez. So then you start looking at the Astros going up against Reed Detmers, and I like everything about this Astros team. And then you start looking at Detmers and just look at his batting average allowed as he works his way through the lineup. First time through the lineup, you're going to hit 280 off of him. Then you're going to hit 373 off of him your second time through the lineup. The third time through the lineup, teams are hitting 758 off of him. That's why you have to like his outs prop at under 17.5. It's just teams are just crushing him his third time through the lineup. Even though the Astros maybe aren't swinging it great versus left-handers, they know him, success against him. His guy's terrible through the third time, so I like that. Valdez dominated these Angels back on May 9th, 8 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 12 Ks. Mentioned how the Angels like to strike out a lot, so no surprise that he was able to get 12 Ks. Valdez went against the Angels 4 times last year. 3 of those 4 starts were quality starts. I love everything about the Astros here. Bullpens are neck and neck. There won't be an advantage there, but really going to rely on Valdez here. Detmers struggles the second and third time through the lineup. Detmers has allowed everybody to get 2+ runs off of him. I like the Astros today. What about you?
Yeah, I'm really getting into these props, I got to tell you. I see Valdez has come down. He opened 6.5, which makes a hell of a lot of sense, seeing that projections I have is 6.75 strikes. So you reasonably can expect at least 6 or 7, and to come down from 6.5 to 5.5. This is now minus 144, so it does seem a bit juiced, but do not be afraid of that juice, because with everything Jason just talked about, with the bad batting that's come out of the Angels or whatever, the fact that he's already dominated the Angels previously, and with a projection of 6.75, you're getting over 5.5, and it is a little bit of juice. So at minus 144, you're just under that 150 kind of threshold of that would be 60% implied probability that he hits 6 strikeouts at least, but I would really have to think that Framber Valdez is going to get 6 strikeouts on the Angels. So I'm willing to pay the 144, and that's one I really do like today.
All right, let's just run through where we would. That's all the games. Let's run through these categories on the left-hand side of just give out the pick of whatever you would have done. We'll just start with shut up and pitch. I would have given out Bibby over 15.5 outs and Luzardo over 6.5 Ks. My greatest long shot today would be the Guardians. I think they're the best dog today. For keep swinging, I would have said Hunter Renfroe was going to struggle today. Only got 1 hit off of 19 at-bats versus Valdez. He's only hitting 105 off of Valdez. Tons of strikeouts. 11 of his 19 at-bats have ended in a strikeout. 11 of his 19 at-bats against Valdez have ended in a strikeout. Ohtani, Trout, they've all got some bad numbers off of him. That's kind of like I like the Astros so much today. A guy that would have done good is Jeremy Pena. He's 4 for 7 off of Detmers. And Chris Bryant is 18 for 52 off of Zach Davies for a 346 batting average. For It's a Steal, I would have plucked out 3 teams today that would not score a run the first inning. Don't like any full game nerfies, but I would have told you that the Padres, Twins, and Red Sox all would not score in the first inning. And you're really just backing outstanding pitchers. Hunter Green only giving up 1 run in 11 starts, 18 Ks in 11 starts in the first inning. Teams are only hitting 1-1-1 off of him. Bibby hasn't given up a run yet so far in his 6 starts. He's been outstanding. Guys are only hitting 100 off of him in the first inning. And then Luzardo, he also hasn't given up a run so far in 11 starts in the first inning. Guys are only hitting 083 off of him in the first inning. So, yeah, I would take the Padres, Twins, and Red Sox to all not score in the first inning. My best bet today, I'm going to hope it's Chase Anderson pitching, because I do like the Rockies on the F5 money line is my best bet today. And my double play parlay today would have been the Blue Jays and the Mets. Let me go ahead and throw my bets up on the screen. I don't know if you want to add anything there, Squirrel.
Yeah, I'll try to run down the left side there. Um, so shut up and pitch, man. I had a lot of pitchers I talked about here today. Let me run through real quick and look at them again. So the Kevin Gossman over 7.5 at plus money. Best odds you can do right now actually is at Caesars plus 104. So you're getting plus money. He's expected to do 8. So that's great. Another guy, if you're looking to go over, is that Framber Valdez over 5.5. It's out there at FanDuel minus 144. A bit juiced, but definitely expected to see roughly 7 strikeouts. So to go over 5.5 is pretty good, even though you're paying a little bit of juice there. I do like that one. I think maybe those are the top 2 that I would like to take for that. So we'll say those. What else we got
What
here?
was your best dog
Long
today?
shots. Yeah, long shots. I liked. We talked about the Reds. I really like them, and for some small plus money, I do like the Marlins, mostly due to the line movement and whatnot. I think we might have talked a little bit about the pitching in that too, but Joe Musgrove's not too bad either. So maybe my perception's off. I don't know. The name has been better. I don't know. 5.64 ERA, but I've heard that's kind of a bullshit stat. Not gonna lie.
Which one?
The ERA, the ERA being a bullshit stat. WHIP is maybe a better indicator of the pitching strength, or one that is stronger than ERA. I know everyone gets caught up into the ERA of guys, but I think there's probably some better metrics to look at in determining the strength of the pitcher. But yeah, maybe Musgrove's not like the ace that I seem to think he is. So yeah, we'll say the Marlins and the Reds though for long shots. If I had to give you a steal today, let's see. I don't know exactly.
And Stros or the Astros? What do you think?
I don't know. Could it be the Padres Marlins over? Do you like this enough to call it a steal? It's low enough anyway. It's 7.5. I have it 8.5.
Been there all 3 games. It's fine. I mean, I hit one of the 2, but yeah. The numbers wise have been there for all 3.
Just to get through the inning there. I'll say it. I'll call it a steal. Double play. I have to take the Blue Jays with something else.
Blue Jays Astros.
Did we even talk about
Blue Jays Astros? It's got
Yeah,
to be.
sure. Yep.
Blue
Do that.
Jays Astros. All right. So those are my official bets. I've already tweeted that entire card. Lots of plus money on the card. I'm expecting a really nice day. I love those bets. I absolutely love them. I'm expecting a really, really nice day, to be quite honest. All right. There it is, Squirrel.
Cool. Hey, does this camera look pretty good? I think it looks pretty nice.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, for being a laptop camera, it's kind of a better setup for me because I have everything like right here now instead of like I was like I had my phone and then my laptop and I was like looking over here and it's just like
Love to see it.
It's a much neater setup for me, so I like it.
Love to see it. All right, let's both have ourselves a day. We want to wish you guys good luck with your bets. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'll resume the normal rundown on tomorrow's show, where, of course, on Friday's MLB slate, you get a good, healthy amount of games. So, yeah, we'll return back to normal format. All right, good luck with those bets. See you guys at the cash counter a little bit later on, and enjoy your day.
See ya.